Welcome to Type C Tech Reviews. Today we're going to be unboxing the Acer Predator XB273K. If you want to check out this exact same monitor, there's Amazon links below, but let's get this unboxed. Now, this monitor is in a good price point. Not on sale like the last generation, it's at a great price, but currently it's on sale for under 400 bucks, and not just a little bit under 400 bucks, but substantially under 400 bucks. For that, we're talking about 27 inches, 4K, I think 144 hertz, HDMI 2.1. So especially for the consoles, this could be excellent, but for PC as well, which is what we're gonna be testing it with today. Now, the stand here looks actually very impressive. A significant improvement, or it looks like a significant improvement over the last generation. This is all solid metal. Looks like we're also gonna have swivel there. It's a very attractive design, similar to their previous designs, but much more refined. I have had this monitor sitting in the studio for months now, so I apologize about not getting it out sooner, but yeah, I really like this new design. Much cleaner. Looks like we're gonna have full rotation. It is a clip-in stand. This feels very well put together while it is plastic. It has some cable management that looks okay here, but overall, yeah, it feels very well put together, and I like that slim design. Let's just put these together, match them up like that. High quality thumb screw, and there it is. Now, their designs have gotten so much better. That is so much more attractive than their previous generation products. Now, also in the box, we've got an HDMI, which I believe is an HDMI 2.1. We've got some paperwork, some more paperwork, or maybe this is a, yes, it is. It is a color calibration report with the average delta E right there. That's very cool. So this is factory calibrated. We're gonna test that in the full review. Subscribe below, coming in a few weeks. But today we're gonna be doing an initial impressions, gaming test, and a ghosting test. Now, this looks like it has an internal power supply, which is super nice. And this looks like it's a fairly nice and long cable. All good stuff. But with that, let's get to the panel itself. I'm very excited about this one. Comes in a little bag. Because this is a lock and stand, you line up those top pins just like that, press it down, and we're in. Very good packaging. They've got some extra foam on the front there. And yeah, pretty much looks exactly as I expected. Although we do actually have this nice brushed effect on the edge right here. That continues on to the back. We get a nice brushed effect, which is fine. Nothing super fancy here, but exactly what you need. Let's get this set up on the desk. All right, guys, now with it on the desk, there's a few things that I missed. Number one, I do like this design, but it does take up a little bit more space. It is probably wider than it needs to be. However, what I do really like is this down here. These have a bunch of lines in it. The Predator logo is kind of embossed in it. It makes it look a lot higher end than it actually is. We're gonna take off this IPS tag right there. We don't really care about it being an IPS. Everyone's monitor is an IPS basically. All right, let's go over the adjustability. We have height. Look at that, a pretty good amount of height too. We've got swivel, tilt, and then we've got full rotation. I do have the cables a bit tight back there, so we're not gonna go full, but I do believe, okay, looks like it's only to the right. But overall, the movement feels very, very smooth. And one thing that I do like is because it swivels down here, you can tell if it's not straight on. And for people that are a little bit more like OCD, well, you can easily get it perfectly centered just by looking down here. That's a point that I like. All right, now let's get this turned on. I think it's the top button, a little LED to let us know that it's on. Now it's up, let's make sure all the settings are correct, because I can already tell this is not full refresh rate. We are at 3840 by 2160, so our 4K. And then let's bump it up to 160 hertz. So I was wrong, it was 160, not 144. Nice and fairly smooth, not like a 240 hertz, but damn, the price on this, I mean, I think right now it's like $375 or something, which is an insanely good price for a 4K panel like this. Now, in NVIDIA control panel, we're gonna see if this can output 10 bits of color, and it can at full refresh rate and resolution. With that, let's go into the settings. We have a joystick on the right side. You guys know I prefer it under the chin in case you have a dual monitor setup. And then we've got these other like hotkeys, which I don't like as much. So to go into brightness, we have a quick menu. It's at 80%, let's turn it all the way up. Oh yeah, gets quite a bit decently more bright, which is very nice. Continuing on with that menu system, we've got user modes up here. Nope, that's brightness. See, this is why I don't love this menu system. We've got user, sports, racing, action, which is kind of like gaming 1, 2, and 3, standard, eco, graphics, which seems like substantially brighter overall. Maybe the contrast is boosted. Then we've got an HDR. Doesn't look like any difference. Maybe HDR just puts it in HDR mode. I'm not sure. Doesn't seem to be really any difference at all between user, graphics, and HDR. So we're just gonna leave it in user for now. Menu system is not great here, but definitely not the worst I've seen. We'll go into the full menu here. This is a little bit better. We've got FreeSync Premium is on. We've got our, I think they call it refresh rate num, which I think is literally just the refresh rate counter in the top corner. We've got advanced overdrive, which I'm assuming is actually just your response time settings. We've got our black booster. We've got timers and our crosshairs. I'm assuming that's what that is. We have our picture settings in here, so the contrast. This is a much better menu system than those hotkeys, which is honestly kind of annoying, but you can bypass them, so not too big of a deal. We've got HDR in here on auto, super sharpness, which we'll just turn on right now just for fun to see what it looks like. Yep, it's just like a sharpness thing, which I don't love. Now here are the different settings that we are going through, and again, graphics and user, very small difference between them. We've also got different color spaces here, which is very cool. For right now, we're just gonna leave it in general. We've got a grayscale mode, we have gamma, so there's actually quite a few settings that we can adjust. We have these 6-axis hue, 6-axis saturation, which is very cool. We've got audio settings. I don't know if this has integrated speakers, auto source, which is nice. Then we have the hotkeys, so you can actually change the hotkeys and what they are, which is nice, but still don't love that they have hotkeys. Really, there's no point. We also have DSC, which is display screen compression. Let's turn that off and see if we can still get the full refresh rate and 10 bits of color. So it looks like we're doing 144 hertz here. And yeah, without DSC on, looks like we're locked in at 144 hertz, 4K, and 8 bits of color. Turning on DSC will allow us to get 160 hertz and 10 bits of color. So for right now, we are gonna do that. But that's enough jabbering, let's get in game. All right guys, jumping in game, first thing you notice, this does have some speakers in it, which we are gonna quickly turn down a little bit because they're a little loud. Speakers aren't great, but the fact that you have them is a nice thing to have. However, first thing you notice is the colors here are great. Accuracy looks pretty dang good. I've played a lot of Battlefield 1, so I know what it should look like, and the color accuracy looks pretty dang good. Again, really haven't changed it from the standard picture settings, but everything looks great. No weirdness going on. Matte finish doesn't look too bad. There is a little bit of that dirty screen effect up there, so it definitely does have kind of your standard matte finish, not a super, super thin one, but overall brightness is good here. Colors are really, really good and vibrant, and I've been dailying 2 different OLEDs, 2 different QD OLEDs, so that is saying a lot. I'm used to really good colors. I mean, especially if you get it right now. I don't think I got it for that price, but 370 something bucks. Definitely hard to beat this if you only want a 27-inch panel. Now I talk about if you want the perfect resolution to screen size, it is 32 inches at 4K. However, try to get a 32-inch 4K monitor that has good colors like this for that price. You're just not gonna find it. Now you'd think that things like color accuracy and just weird stuff going on with monitors should be fairly standard across the board, but God, it is so surprising. I'm still in the process of reviewing my 32:9 super ultra wide QD OLED, the 49-inch, and that has a lot of weird stuff going on. You really have to mess with settings. This monitor, I'm happy exactly how it is out of the box, just like this. Really, I wouldn't touch anything. It doesn't need to be touched. The colors look great here. Yeah, this is impressive. I mean, it's everything I was hoping it was gonna be, and for 370 bucks, like, you really can't go wrong here. With that, let's test out some HDR. I don't think it's gonna be great, but let's try it. So without actually enabling that auto HDR, it's not actually gonna turn your HDR on. Where did we find that? All right, here we go. In HDR, let's turn on auto. That should, yeah, there we go. Wow, it's quick too. That's impressive. All right, now we're in HDR, and honestly, I was expecting this to be a lot worse. The tuning out of the box is really good. Now, would I prefer SDR over HDR? There's not a whole lot of benefit here in HDR. You don't have like super, super deep blacks or anything like that, but you do have the DCI-P3 color gamut, which is a nice thing to have. However, the tuning is not perfect. It's still a little bit not as saturated as it should be. Let's see if we can adjust picture settings. See if we can go into color. Oh, so can we change these, or looks like we can, but it turns off HDR. We'll see if we can play with other things before I do the full review coming in a few days, but overall, still very impressive and well-tuned overall, very well-tuned. All right, but that's enough gaming. Let's talk ghosting. Now, right away, we haven't changed any settings at all, but I do see some pixel overshoot. It's not crazy or anything like that. It's actually pretty dang subtle and really only noticeable in the dimmer or darker areas. But let's go in and see if we can maybe fix that. We're gonna go to advanced overdrive and set it to off, and that's what you want. You don't want it in normal. Extreme causes an extreme amount of overshoot. I always hate it when companies do that, but in off, You get a little bit of ghosting, but honestly not that bad. I'm gonna grab the camera and show you what I'm seeing. And again, we don't know if things like HDR or maybe having DSC on or off, sometimes those things can change your ghosting a little bit, but overall, it's very, very good. Not crystal clear, but you can see with faster whips, we do get a little bit of a trail here, but honestly, it's at a point where, you know, I say this all the time, especially at only 160 hertz. When you're talking about 240, that's when you can start getting a little bit more like specific into it, but it's very, very good. I don't think anyone will really have a problem with ghosting with this panel. That's pretty standard at this point with almost every IPS panel that's out there that's not like super, super budget. But yeah, again, guys, if you want to check it out, Amazon links below. I'd be pretty comfortable recommending this even just after the initial impressions, just because there's not a lot to actually go wrong with these types of panels that are very tried and true technology. And god dang, for like a 370-ish price tag, that is very, very impressive, especially if you want 4K, good colors, and very good reliability for 10 plus years if you wanted to. Yeah, this is good. But again, the full review will be coming out in a few days, so subscribe below for that. But this was Type C Tech Reviews, and I'll see you guys in the next video.